How, my friend, how do you keep surviving? How do you keep painting through this torture? Oh, don't you worry, there is more. There's always more. More stories, more nightmares, more things that go bump in the darkness, more audio stories to read, terrifying tales. And without further ado, let us begin. Just imagine you were born into a poor family with no hope of a good future except the hideous jobs that are already there, which your fathers, forefathers, and their forefathers had worked before, and now you must work there as well. Imagine having to accept whatever meals come by and having to share rooms with multiple other people, and not even your mind has any space for you. Just imagine as well that you also couldn't kill or take out your frustrations by causing immense pain to others. And how horrible would that have felt mentally and emotionally? Imagine the searing anger of not being able to kill people or let out your angst in any way. Also imagine everyone at your school having good families from rich backgrounds, and so you get bullied for being the only poor person there. Just imagine always sitting alone in the worst clothes, and even worse, just imagine that you can't eat the bullies or enemies that cause you misery. Just imagine that you can't take out your hatred on those who cause you pain by dipping your teeth into their flesh and washing your hands inside their organs and taking their excrement out and saying to them, "See, you produce crap just like me and my family." And now imagine you cannot do any of that when you endure so much. Imagining all of that was so much for me that I needed to stare at something to redirect my energy. Looking at the floor or the wall wasn't enough. I started asking strangers whether I could stare at them, and when they would say no, I started having arguments with them. They wouldn't let me stare at them for a couple of minutes so that I could handle all of that negativity from imagining not being able to kill or eat people that have harmed me. There were some people who became rude to me when I asked them whether I could stare at them. And just imagine that I couldn't forcibly grab them and tie them up somewhere that I could stare at them for a while. Well, when I felt better, I let them go. But remember, this is all just imagining. There is never a night which I don't dream. Most of my friends claim that they do not remember their dreams in the morning, but I always do, in such detail that I might confuse it for a memory if I didn't know better. Last night I dreamed I was somewhere on the streets of India, in a poor little village. The broken shacks they call homes lined next to the road. A dead bird was tangled up in the endless wires that lay heaped and curled around the telephone poles. I saw the starving or abandoned children, naked or in rags. I am never the victim in my dreams, though. I sometimes see through their eyes for a split moment. The sound is always muted. I can see their mouths open in screams, especially when my shadow passes over them. But I never hear a single word. They hold their hands out to grab me or stick their legs out to trip me. But they never seem to reach me, no matter how close they are. Some of them throw rocks in my direction or jab at me with knives, and the less violent ones cry and pray. If I turn my head to look back down the road, the children are always lying down or leaning against the wall, seemingly lifeless even if they were running about, raging seconds before. Last night I looked closer at my shadow as I walked past a red wall where the paint was chipping off. I noticed a long stick with a curved half-moon shape at the end, slung over where my shoulder's shadow would be. I looked back again, studying the children behind me. I stared at them for minutes, noticing they would never move even an inch. Even their chest didn't rise or fall. Tearing my eyes away from the devastating sight, I took another good look at my shadow. That stick that was nestled comfortably on my shoulder was a scythe, and I was holding it. I can't escape. She screams in the hall so much, screaming my name, yelling out to others, showing me off like a toy, tearing my eyes out. Every second is living hell as I look behind me to make sure she's not there. It feels like as though her presence is around me constantly as she stalks through the ever-drifting shadows. Please help me. I just want to get to class. I'm worried about you. The words float to my ears. In most situations, it would be a comforting, consoling phrase. But in this context, it gives me horror of a threat. I hear the phone ring once, twice, 3 times, but I ignore it. And then a ding, a notification. It's a voicemail. Are you okay? I'm so worried about you. Those are the first words from the speakers of my phone. It should be a solace, but it's not. All because I didn't respond. I told her I was busy. She doesn't care. Ring, ring, ring. The phone shouts again. Ring, ring, ring. The sound in my ears doesn't stop. Playing on a loop, stuck in my head. I can barely think over the sound in my head. As I mutter to myself, leave me alone. Please, I've told her 100 times I don't enjoy her the same way she finds pleasure in me. I send the text, tip, tap, tap, but she disregards it the same way I try to disregard her. Her obsession grows as she turns a blind eye, a deaf ear, a touchless hand, ignoring my protests. The knife I rise goes up and up. It rises towards my heart. My heart, the one that's been aching as much as hers has, but we're not the same. My heart aches in desire to escape. In hers is desperation to trap me. I do feel oh so trapped. And this knife is the key to my lock and the only way out. When it hits, the sharp pain lasts for but a second, before it fades into soft comfort, as I am finally released from my key.